Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you all for joining this panel. And a big congratulations to the team at Future Tech event for the tremendous success. In this panel, we represent the VR-AR Association, an international organization designed to foster collaboration between innovative companies and people in the extended reality and other fourth industrial revolution technology ecosystem that accelerate growth, fosters research and education, and helps develop industry standards. We have been reading and discussing digital transformation and its trends across various sectors since last few years. However, the unprecedented pandemic situation was truly the reason behind boosting immersive technologies in basically everything we do, from distance learning, telecommuting, telemedicine, as well as transforming industries. We are constantly bombarded with revolutionary inventions and technological upgrades. Immersive technologies is one such innovation that is gaining popularity across all organizations and adding great value to work while sustaining productivity levels and consequently outcomes. We are glad to have with us phenomenal experts to share more light about the future of works through the lens of extended reality. And what is the role of 5G and artificial intelligence in implementing extended reality? Among us today is Sean Hurwitz, founder and CEO at PIXO. PIXO has innovated groundbreaking extended reality solutions for enterprise, where they introduce multi-user VR to the world. PIXO has been using the power of XR technologies to unlock potential and improve people's lives. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Farid. I appreciate it with this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Also with us today is Faisal Ameer Malik from Huawei. Faisal is the CTO at Huawei, a name committed to bringing digital tech to every organization for a fully connected, intelligent world. Welcome, Faisal.
Thank you, Dr. Sana and Future Tech Events. Thank you for having me on this wonderful panel.
Also, please join me to welcome Dr. Anwer Hamim. Dr. Anwer is the General Manager of Higher Innovation Center. Dr. Anwer is a leading consultant and trainer in creativity, innovation, and future transformation. He has been driving positive change across various organizations in the UAE and around the world. Welcome, Dr. Anwer, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Sana, and good evening for all.
So let me point my first question to Dr. Anwer. 2020 has witnessed some striking events, including the surge of immersive technologies, making remote collaboration and virtual meetings avenues of socializing and productivity. What are some of the major sectors benefiting from XR today? Dr. Anwer?
Thank you very much. I don't know, I'm lucky that you start with me or I'm unlucky. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to thank all the organizers of this important international summit. And to answer your question, yes, there are many areas and sectors. For example, health sector in general. One example is health sector, healthcare, or we can say home care, for those who take care of people with special needs and the elderly. Example, a recent study was conducted as part of the UK government in collaboration with AR, VR training professionals. It was found that it could be very helpful, really. The training was provided on hand wash and wearing and removing personal protective equipment and responding to unresponsive patients. The study was assessed before training as what we say, pre-assessment, the performance was in the middle level, but after training, their performance increased by 80%. Another sector is business and programs, and as the largest companies in the world invested, like Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and other. Also, the 5th generation technologies. By it, I mean the new power of the 5th generation of mobile communications networks, which will benefit many sectors, such as many airlines around the world, which can build many partnership like SkyTeam and Star Alliance, as well as the telecommunications companies and modern technology service providers. Also, the trade sectors such as folding screen. This is new technology. One of the immersive technology by LG and Samsung. Also, we can say about playing. Yes, playing. Also, an immersive gaming world. Playing games will content mix. We can say mixed physical, virtual, and augmented reality, which will achieve an amazing and unique experience. Also, the industry and clothing sector, because there will be smart clothes. They are specialists by contain sensors and microelectronic chips. It will be available in clothing and leather and a lot of wearing to perform their function in monitoring, transmitting data, generating information, sensing things, and communicating with other people. And it has many more functions. Of course, we cannot forget the world of self-driving cars, which will be updated to avoid previous mistakes made by some international companies. And if we can talk about many sectors like education, like army, like environment, a lot of sectors.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anwer. It's very vital that you mentioned about 5G. So my next question targeting connectivity to Mr. Faisal. So 5G has been associated with a promise of new digital applications and services that come with a hyper-connected life. How is enhanced connectivity creating new values for individuals, industries, and enterprises using XR?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Sana and the organizers for having me here. It's wonderful to be part of this panel. I'm Faisal Ameer Malik. I'm working as CTO for Huawei Middle East Enterprise Business, been part of this organization since last 15 years. So it's a very wonderful question. See, let me put it in a different way to make audience understand how we see it, or now that we are entering more from a digital world to an intelligent world. Where if I summarize this new intelligent world in 3 words, it means that everything will be connected, everything will be sensing, everything will be intelligent around us. So to do all of this, we need 3 very important things. One of the most important thing is that, of course, connectivity, where 5G becomes the interconnection of everything. Another important thing is we need to do, like Dr. Anwer said, things like driverless cars, robots, autonomous vehicles, even XR, VR and AR. All of these things need ultra low latency to be reaching there. And the very last but not the least and very important part is we need boundless computing. We don't need to be bounded by where we will do computing, that in the data center or at the edge, in the middle somewhere. So to do all of this, 5G offers us very right ingredients to do all these things, to bring everything together. For example, we are talking about a driverless car. A driverless car is driving on the road, and what does it need? It needs computing on the car itself. It needs connectivity to the backend, and it needs ultra low latency connectivity to do everything together. If there is a drone flying in the air, or sending video of high tension wireline inspection to the backend, so that we can save manpower and hours and resources to do the job. It's a very dangerous job. So what do we need? We need real-time video. We need ultra low latency. We need real-time processing at the backend and at the edge. And there are so many examples. So 5G definitely, from the industrial perspective, from enterprise perspective as well, will play a very important role, and as individual as well. Now let's see enterprises, large enterprises like education sector, to enable XR or AR and VR everywhere. Financial sector to interconnect their branches, ATMs, or whatever they want at whatever speed they want, whatever kind of security and latency they want, they would want to have it. If you go to individuals, of course, individuals will benefit a lot. Again, the first and most important thing which individuals are looking at is high throughput, high bandwidth, ultra high bandwidth coming to their homes, to their devices, millions of users, many more millions of users than today connecting to these networks. So 5G will become more of a catalyst to make us go faster to achieve our goal of entering into this new era of what we call is intelligent world around us.
Thank you so much, Faisal. Very interesting to learn more about 5G. Moving on to Sean, simulated experiences are revolutionizing training and providing tremendous benefits to learners, educators, and organizations. What are the features that you're looking into to start an immersive program?
Well, thank you very much again for having me on the panel. I've been very, very impressed with the region and the whole Middle East. The whole, we work globally, and your region in particular seems to be very innovative and really pushing the boundaries, in particular with XR. We've noticed a pretty significant difference than other parts of the world. So I'm pleasure to be here on the panel. So when we started out in the XR space early 2015, 2016, when the Oculus Rift first came out and Oculus really commercialized that headset. We came from the gaming space, so we understood and understand immersive technology. We understand 3D, and when we put the headset on and recognized that you can immerse someone in an environment, we knew this would change the world in many of the sectors that Dr. Anwer has already suggested. The focus for us early on was looking for training became very obvious, because this is where there's lives at risk and a substantial money spent on training and learning. And when we knew that we could reduce that risk, and more importantly, reduce the risk and reduce the cost of some of this training and experiences, we knew this was our direction. So I think to start, if you ask how to integrate or where to start as a program, is the value of XR obvious to a corporation? I think we've heard some great examples of that it is, but if a corporation can look and say, I can replace this or reduce risk or reduce the investment in certain categories, then XR is definitely a place to start. And I believe why in the Middle East and other parts of the world, why it's taken off, because the value of these platforms are becoming more obvious.
Excellent. Thank you, Sean. So going back to Faisal, so thank you for your inputs, but I've heard also a lot of talk about Wi-Fi 6 as a new wireless standard, very suitable for XR. Please tell us more about this.
Oh, absolutely. So a lot of focus is on 5G, but at the end of the day, we know that 5G, like a cellular technology, will not only help our cities to improve in terms of connectivity, our enterprises, our life, and that will happen. But we cannot rule out the importance of Wi-Fi connectivity. It's becoming a very important part of our life. If you are in a hospital, if you're in an education institution, if you are inside an office, or even if at your home, I think we can live without anything but a wireless connection. So while 5G brings a complete change in the way we connect, it is very important that we also see that what is the improvement we need to do in WLAN connectivity to improve our enterprise environment. So Wi-Fi 6 brings the current Wi-Fi standard, as we all know, most of you know that we are using, we call it Wi-Fi 5 standard, which is 802.11 AC standard, and it can, from people who understand networking, from a single access point, which you put, we can go maybe 1.5 or something like that Gbps, but Wi-Fi 6 will give us a jump to up to 10 Gbps. So you can imagine, Dr. Sana, while you go to educational institutions, and you are rightly talking about that if you want to offer them AR, augmented reality device, and they want to connect multiple students at the same time to that AR device, the biggest hurdle is not the content. Maybe the content is there, the device is there. The biggest hurdle is connectivity, that high speed connectivity, ultra low latency connectivity, and how to connect so many students together. Similarly, in other industries, in high density areas. So Wi-Fi 6 definitely is bringing a big change in the way we do WLAN or wireless networks. We have already seen massive rollout of Wi-Fi 6 happening in the Middle East. Globally, all the enterprises who are now deploying new networks, they are all going for Wi-Fi 6 rather than the earlier standards of WLAN technology. And as I said, in very simple words, again, what it offers is a massive bandwidth. You can touch up to 10 Gbps of throughput. Then second is more number of people connected to an access point or a device, a wireless device. And third is, again, very importantly, ultra low latency or lower latency than the earlier networks. Why we are emphasizing on latency is because all the future applications like XR itself, or imagine a robot moving around inside a hotel or inside an education institution, or inside a large campus like the one at my display, doing patrolling or doing any kind of job. You need low latency to operate all of these things. So while 5G becomes very important to blanket cover our cities, our life outside, Wi-Fi 6 will help you or help us do the similar things in the enterprises, in the areas we are operating right now. As I said, educational institutions, hospitals, campuses, or any kind of these environments. So it's again a connectivity revolution when we talk about WLAN connectivity.
Thank you, Faisal. That sounds very hopeful.
Could I add a comment?
Sean, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, a real example that we're doing is we're working with one of the largest pool equipment manufacturers in the world, where they would fly people in, or they would arrive at these training centers and they would train in VR. Now that's due to COVID, that's very much restricted. They want to give them tools and some learning and training abilities in the field. So we're developing an augmented reality solution for their 10,000 employees and contractors. So when they're in the field working with these pool heaters or working with this equipment, they could have a virtual manual or 3D model that they can use to learn and provide solutions for them. So they will be in remote locations on a particular device, and without connectivity, that solution just doesn't work at all.
Thank you for your inputs, Sean. So I absolutely agree. Advancement in technology go hand in hand with advancement with intelligent connectivity. So in terms of, if we talk about the hardware part of the XR, so we are already having eye tracking, haptic gloves, and room scale capabilities. Now that we have a promising and blazing fast connectivity arriving shortly, what are next that we're looking at? Sean, would you like to add to this that how is the future looking at, perhaps with quality content that matches learners' needs across all sectors?
Sure. Well, having enough content is definitely a barrier that we're working on. So our recent launch of our platform Apex allows us not only to distribute our own content, but to curate third-party content, because we believe until there's enough content, until there's an affordable, easy device and then connectivity, then the whole ecosystem is broken in one of those points. So by having these things coming online, it's making traction and acceleration in the industry. But recently, HP made an announcement, I think the end of last week, just a week ago, that they have a new software product called Concept, which is a product that will capture additional user data like cognitive load and heart rate, body temperature, and those kinds of things through their new headset through sensors. Efficacy is probably the largest barrier as we see it. And so we're excited to see these new products, new solutions, new software platforms coming online to increase efficacy, because it changes a lot when you can track someone's capabilities, and then you can also track their cognitive load or how they're feeling in a particular environment. So we're excited and looking forward to the new solutions that are coming into the industry.
Thank you, Sean. Going back to Dr. Anwer. So Dr. Anwer, you are very closely and one of the pioneers in the region who are working to bring XR to universities and governments and other training organizations. How do you think XR is contributing to sustainable education through remote learning? This question is targeting school education as well as higher education and job training.
Thank you again, Dr. Sana. That was a good question, really. Of course, immersive technology will contribute to sustainable learning, especially in remote education, as it creates a real virtual environment for students, as well as moving them to different world and different environment. Also, enhance practical participation, which increases the interest rate and improvement to more than 70%. Also, the higher education in laboratories and virtual halls, which make students face different situations and work on them before graduation. It will be helpful. Also, which raises the level of awareness and knowledge they have. And it will certainly contribute greatly to the field of functional training for all levels. I will give you some examples. Training ambulance personnel on how face and help different cases. Also, the criminal investigation, crime detection, and evidence gathering. Also, in the civil defense, this is other also a benefit. Also, in the civil defense and fire services, how to train and teach fire brigades to save people and reduce losses. To be honest with you, there are many, many services and benefits for immersive technologies in many sectors.
Thank you, Dr. Anwer. I cannot emphasize more on the importance of continued training, and especially on-the-job training especially for new graduates. And this is the challenge that we have been facing due to the COVID situation. I believe, like, if I consider myself a listener, it's very much convincing about the XR and how it's transforming practices. I still want to ask Faisal about the end user experience. Is mobility and photorealism that important for XR? And can you share more use cases from your end?
Yes, Dr. Sana, thank you for the question. It's a very interesting question. And so the discussion is wonderful. I'm really enjoying it. Definitely, because now, as you can see that having talked about from our perspective about connectivity and all, while these all things become available, XR is very, very important. And we can see a lot of use cases already coming up. For example, education sector is one of the early adopters, very fast adopters of XR. And I think if we adopt even faster, my kids and anybody's kids sitting at home would not be attending a video conference to do their classroom. I always say in the keynotes, if we would have moved at the right speed in adopting technology, our kids would have been part of a XR session rather than only a video conferencing session. The whole learning experience would have been way more different than what we are offering now. So this is still that we still have time. We can go even faster. Then other industries, like I saw a very interesting use case where a city maintenance staff was walking on the road, and they were getting real-time signals from the pipelines or drainage pipelines under the ground, and they could see through their augmented reality goggles that during rainfall, what are the water levels, where are the leakages. They can go and just pinpoint those locations. Of course, they are being monitored from large dashboards from the city monitoring point of view, but for the alignment staff. And third, more important part, where we have been talking to a lot of organizations, and while we go and talk about connectivity, they let us know, of course, the use cases. Another use case is around training. Training of critical and dangerous areas. For example, if you want to train your staff who have to go into certain hazardous areas. So you cannot, the cost of training for these people and setting up these training areas is very high. And you cannot do these trainings faster. You cannot keep changing the training content, but XR helps you do that. And so on and so forth. Even talking about medical field or any other field, I think XR will bring a massive revolution into the way we are doing a lot of things, and its early and faster adoption will help us, our industry, in every way.
Thank you, Faisal. So early adoption, especially in hazardous training, I think this is exactly the expertise of Sean working at PIXO. So Sean, would you like to describe more about exactly that point? How is XR revolutionizing not only training in XR, but also what are the measurements of success? Comparing to a conventional or a standard classroom, how do you measure success in an XR environment?
Very good questions. And just to feed off of Mr. Faisal's comments, back to where I started, XR can be used to do things that are risky, not cost effective, and otherwise impossible. So some of our hazardous training, where we have randomized hazards on a particular job site or in a warehouse or in an area, it's just not going to be done. You're not going to take a fire and put a gas can, in real life, hoping someone will recognize it, because that may end in a disaster. Or one of our trainings in fall protection, and we have a confined space training as well, which Mr. Faisal has brought up as well, is you're not going to send someone on an 80-story building and have them pick a harness and hope they pick the right harness, so when they fall, they survive. So we're able to replicate real life simulations and doing things that you wouldn't otherwise do or impossible to do. So, from a data point, capturing data, we as a company are continuing to look for efficacy and traction in the industry. So some of our data points that may be a little different maybe than your question, which I'll get into, and that is, are there users, other companies are actively using content, and how are they using it? That's a very important data point for us as a company, and we believe the industry. If you develop something and no one's using it, it has very little value. So that's a big data point for us as a company, and to get once they're using it, now, and I'll go back to OmniCep from HP in a second, but we can capture every data point, every move, the eye tracking, did they complete a task? How long did it take them to complete a task? HP's OmniCep How are they feeling? How are they feeling in this environment, which is really game changing. And I think the having these assessments or these data points allows a company to say, is this individual fit for this task? Are they fit to go out into the field? And have they improved? So you can create some milestones or some points that they can improve on, and even on the training. How can we optimize the training? He's failing at a particular point, then either the training needs to change or maybe the individuals need to change. So the data and the data collection is absolutely critical to efficacy, which is sort of my point of the whole industry right now.
Thank you very much, Sean. I would just like to send a reminder to all our audience that we will be here for a few more minutes. So if you have any questions, please comment below. Very interesting chat with all of you. So coming to an end of our panel, be it sales through marketing, alleviating cognitive dissonance, or revenue data visualization, immersive technologies bestows us with the ability to craft simulations. A novel way of tracking digital information, it has an abundance of advantages waiting to be reaped. Companies are expecting to compete and deliver more, using less time and resources. As a result, several enterprises are on a constant lookout for alternative working environments, especially remote and online. And immersive telecommuting is definitely the next futuristic marvel. Companies seek to efficiently utilize the internet to impact activities and like collaborating and meetings online. Several firms are already exploring enhanced options like interactive and immersive collaborative environments to boost productivity and focus. In a nutshell, the metaverse or the virtual world helps nullify distances and eliminating constraints and makes necessities like education and healthcare available for everybody, everywhere. Moreover, the overall quality of the workforce is also positively reinforced. Thus, the economies of nations will grow and make our world a much more innovative-centric world. In the end, I would like to one by one ask my prestigious panelists for your last thoughts about XR and how would you see the future, especially in the Middle East region, for organizations to come on board XR. And meanwhile, once again, I would like to remind the audience, if you have any questions, please share with us. So Dr. Anwer, would you have a last thought about XR in the enterprise sector?
Yes, of course, of course. There's a lot of things in the future. It will come and it will show up that we didn't expect it, because every day we are discover something new, and of course it will help a lot of sectors, and it will improve the humanity, and it will improve the new generation. And really appreciate all your efforts, and really I'm happy that I am with you, and nice to meet you.
Thank you, Dr. Anwer. Faisal, would you like to shed more light about what is exactly Huawei doing to make XR implementation a reality in enterprise?
Thank you, Dr. Sana. See, at Huawei, I say that we are the enabler of the world around us. We are the enabler of industry, enterprises, and we connect people together. So we are playing a very important role, not only by bringing in the right kind of technology that is needed to realize, as I always say, the faster and wider adoption of XR, as I gave examples in terms of connectivity. It's 5G, it's Wi-Fi 6. When you go into the cloud, we are helping organizations build more robust cloud environments so the content can be served to these end user devices in the right way. And most importantly, with our massive investment into research and development and our innovation labs all across the world, there is one very important element in realizing XR or any other new technology, is that the ecosystem. We talk about a lot of emerging technologies, but a lot of them fail because nobody is actually working to bring the all stakeholders involved in that particular technology together. So that is what we are doing at the Middle East level and at the global level, where either it's the end user, is the service provider or the content provider, or the enterprise or the common people who want to use this technology. We are helping build the ecosystem. We are helping bring the stakeholders together, and I think that is a very, very important job, and that will really help the industry move forward and do the faster adoption of XR or any incoming technology.
Thank you very much, Faisal. And this is exactly what we are doing at the VR AR Association. Once again, just to remind you all that I'm taking care of the MENA region of the VR AR Association, and we are exactly focused on building industry standard, while my colleague Sean is the president of the Seattle chapter of the association. Sean, thanks to technologies and groundbreaking programs like PIXO and many others to mention, there is no discontinuation of education or training in the workforce. Such amazing applications have literally helped to continue productivity across various sectors. Would you like to share a last message with our audience?
Sure. The industry is starting to accelerate. Unfortunately, we have a pandemic in this world, but it's taken in for the XR industry. It's provided an opportunity that what was a nice to have, training remotely, was a nice to have, and people were looking into it, is now a necessity. So we believe that's also influencing the industry in a positive light. Granted, the pandemic isn't positive. This XR provides a solution for real remote training and collaboration, where you can interact with dozens of people from anywhere in the world. And now the connectivity, the headsets, the devices, the content, our Apex platform that allows anyone to manage and distribute any of the XR content. Well, these solutions are coming together, and the planets are aligning. And it's necessary these days. It's not a nice to have. It's absolutely necessary. Companies are looking to save money, reduce risk, and train remotely. And these things are aligned perfectly in the bullseye for XR. My suggestion is continue to put on a headset, go get a device, learn about it. It changed our minds and changed the company. It's changing the world. So if you're a corporation and you have all these things, there's no question you need to train, you need to save money, you need to keep people safe, no matter what you're doing, any industry. So my recommendation is get a device, do a demo. We're working with Farid in Dubai. We have a partner in Saudi as well, Al Habib Contracting. I know you're working with companies like HP, and they're in the region, they're in the industry. Put on a device, get a headset, and learn how it'll change your company or life as well.
Very well said, Sean. So XR is definitely a promise of a new future for us, where we are literally doing works in a lesser cost and more efficiency. Thank you once again to my prestigious panelists joining us today. And great thanks to Future Tech event. We wish you great success, and looking forward to any questions if there are any.
Hello. Somebody put me in.
You are here. We can hear you.
I hope. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. I have a few questions from some of our guests as well as from my side. I'll start with the education part of it. Yeah. So I heard in the discussion that right now it's video conferencing, correct? And we could have done a better way where there could be live avatars and things like that. Is that right, sir?
Yep.
So allow me to answer that. So if I understand the question correctly, XR is literally helping to transform remote learning. This is even before the COVID time. So education is always needing to be collaborative, aligned with the curriculum. And the bigger part of education is not the classroom, but it's collaboration. A student, whenever they're going to the classroom, there's much more than the existing schedule that they're looking after. There is the social part of it. There is the extracurricular activity. XR, as you have heard throughout the session, is actually making a lot of the things that were impossible before possible. The students are able to literally meet face-to-face with their peers, work in collaboration, and not only meet with their class mates, but also students in the UAE are collaborating with the students from other countries. We are next going to be having a collaborative activity which is coming up in Expo 2021, which is being held here in Dubai. And it's going to be a beautiful collaboration between students here and students all over the world.
Okay. So one was education as a sector. Second, we did an event last year, which was called Drop Safety. And when we all were making the event, one thing we are all looking forward for was a company to showcase how do you do training through AR, VR. So for the oil and gas industry specifically, or now what we call it as the energy sector, what is the latest for training like HSE and other sectors, you know? So what training do you all have as the latest?
I think Sean would be best to answer this question.
I would like to add also on education and training part something later on. Please, Sean.
Okay, sure. Yeah, what we've been able to do specifically in the natural gas area or sector, as an example, we have simulated a neighborhood with residential houses with a gas leak. So we've randomized where the gas leak is, and the technician has to locate and reduce the risk in the area. So we have avatars. You asked that question earlier. We have avatars walking around that are different every time. And the technician is tasked with securing the area based on where the leak is and the significance of the leak. So they have to walk around the neighborhood. They have to knock on the door. There's pets and human avatars walking around. They have to secure and appropriately follow the protocol of how to do that. That's one example. But the overarching story is we replicate real life scenarios cost effectively without any at all. So you imagine that the possibilities are absolutely endless.
Okay. Faisal, you wanted to add something on education and training.
So Melvin, I would like to, if you allow me, I would like to add. Yeah. See, first of all, about training, I was talking to one of the customers in oil and gas industry, and we were discussing 5G, Wi-Fi 6, and XR, of course, because when we talk about connectivity, we don't go and tell them about the equipment, we tell them the use case. So I told him about what Sean is talking about, but I told him about another thing. I said, look, it's not only about training, it's enhancing the capability of your workforce. Like, for example, if I have an AR device I'm wearing and I go to a sensitive place, maybe there is X level of expertise which I have as a personnel, but that AR goggle can help raise that X level of expertise to X plus 5. Because otherwise in training, I would not remember, I would make mistakes. So this can also help organizations to raise the bar of expertise that their personnel have, especially to handle sensitive places, especially to handle more hazardous environments, to reduce the mistake, to save lives. So it's not only about what you do in training, but also when you go out and do a certain job. It's actually maybe you can develop a program using your best worker and then implement it for everyone around in your workforce. So imagine what kind of productivity we are talking about. And secondly, also education. I think with Dr. Sana, last year I saw a very interesting example of a surgery, if you remember, Dr. Sana, VR session. So I give this example a lot in my keynotes, that explaining students remotely on a video conference about how you can what you can do to a patient in certain cases and environment, or explaining them inside a VR session with real experience and ultra low latency, everybody operating on the patient at the same time. These are very different kind of possibilities we are talking about. And I don't think, personally, I think there is no match of what we do on a video call or a video learning, and what XR can offer. I think we need to take this leap and move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add to that, our training modules, and I'm glad you brought it up, allow for at least a couple dozen people entering the same environment at the same time from anywhere in the world. So the surgery example, somebody could be in Dubai and somebody could be in Florida. And they could be training or learning from people all over the world and actually interacting, handing things to each other, which creates the asynchronous opportunity. Where if we're completing a task and we're doing a surgery together, you complete yours, I complete mine, and that multi-participant or multi-collaboration allows you to do that, which is absolutely groundbreaking and never possible before.
Okay. In today's session on track 1, we had something on e-commerce and retail development, like that. So how does AR and VR, I saw somewhere, where the product can come out of the screen, you can rotate it and check it out. So a little, a light on that. How does it help for an e-commerce company or a retail company to showcase their product through AR, VR? Is there a connection there?
I'm not sure who you're asking, but we have, that is not an industry that we're currently in. Certainly we will be, as our platform is agnostic to hardware and agnostic to content now. But I think so. I mean, the example I gave earlier with the connection to pool equipment manufacturer and technicians out in the field, if you can explode a 3D model of a pool heater, why couldn't you do that with a pair of pants or a shirt?
Yeah, Melvin, I think for commercial sector or any other sector, similar sector, where there are consumers, we need to look, we don't need to look AR or XR only from a consumer point of view. Imagine I walk into a store and the store personnel can recognize me, that I am a frequent visitor, I am a VIP customer, or rather than I asking me that, do you have that loyalty card or not? Or if I walk into a hotel, I walk into any place and they can recognize me with my credentials, or at least that I am a VIP customer, or I walk into a bank. So we also need to look at from the business perspective, because that is what they look at. I think if rotating a product in front of my eyes, I'm not sure it was, I think, a fancy thing maybe 2 years ago the industry was looking at, but now it's more towards from the business perspective, how they can use XR to enhance the experience of their consumers.
Okay, my final question for me. We used to do physical events till February, March. Now we are virtual, some part of yours. So what can I do or we do as peers from this industry for the future? Now we know till here, we came till here that we can do virtual events. How can we enhance this better from your point of view as AR, VR? Is there a way to enhance it?
I think I would like to comment here. So since the past 6 to 8 months, in general, all people understand that video conferencing is a way, and everybody's getting, even the people who are not used to using technology, they're on board with it. Now, we are living in a world which is offering us beyond video conferencing, which is offering you to be interactive with you. Now, combining all of the questions and answers that were shared earlier, when we talk about designing in the let's say in one of the industries, let's say in automobile industry, where most of the time the case is that you require designers from different parts of the world. Somebody would be from Switzerland, another designer would be, let's say, from Korea. Due to the social distancing and the lack of flights and all of these things, imagine if they're literally being inside the metaverse, inside the virtual world, in a same environment, and they're able to design all of these activities all together. This is just a simple example to let you imagine. Whatever you are imagining now is actually a reality that is being implemented in today's time. Events, I'm sure the objective of this entire Future Tech event is to build awareness for people about the futuristic technologies. We need to do more. The step to utilizing or harnessing any new technology is building awareness. So in a recent program that we have recently concluded with the VR/AR association in the MENA region was XR 2020. In XR 2020, we have had different patterns or different tracks for every industry. We have had a special track for enterprise where Sean was there. We have had a separate one for healthcare. In the healthcare, apart from the talk, we have had a number of workshops where we were educating people, basically just, I think Faisal mentioned one of the cases about hand washing techniques, about socializing in the COVID time. Basically, technically what we did in that is that we were teaching people in the developing countries on how to operate on a ventilator without actually using an existing ventilator. So imagine having the ability or having the platform and the right connectivity that is connecting you with people who don't speak your language, who are in a completely halfway across the world, but you're able to reach them in a matter of seconds without any living or flight cost, and you're able to impact their lives for the better. You're able to save more lives. You're better to spread awareness and tackle the job markets where there's lack of trained staff. There are still millions of students, millions of children out of schools. There are more than 20 children out of school only in one of the continents of the world. So all of these issues, we are able to reach them today. I always believe in that technology is helping us the maximum on a humanitarian level. You know, it is improving our reach to all of these people. So I think people should very much be hopeful. And we do have on board some brilliant companies who are actually doing a lot for us, such as Huawei, such as many other companies who are literally helping to revolutionize the healthcare and education industries on a whole.
Thank you very much. I have no questions from my side, but I hope next year we meet all in person and we'll show this live to person.
Definitely.
Welcome
maybe
to
on an XR section.
Yes, we will do that. And,
I would like to say that I would be happy if we're meeting virtually in a very realistic world, because it's saving my time for travel, especially if you want to have Sean on board with you. So why would you bother him? You would save his time, but you will be, again, meeting in a very hyper-realistic world.
Yeah.
well, you know, I would love Sean to taste some delicacies of Oman, you know.
For sure, I'd love it.
And take you to some dune bashing and some, you know, some good cuisine.
Omani sweets, baby, yes.
Omani halwa.
Omani
Oh
halwa.
yes, Omani halwa. I spent all my childhood in Oman, so it's like
Really?
home. Yeah.
So halwa means sweets,
Yeah.
Sean.
Very good. I'll take it.
A speciality of Oman.
Oh
Like,
yes.
come over. All right, I'm done from my side. Any more questions from our attendees?
I don't have anything in the chat.
Okay. So I guess it was a informative session. And from my side, do you want to say something else before you end the session? Some last message?
I think from our side, I would like to thank on behalf of Huawei for being invited to be part of this wonderful panel. It was amazing discussion with the industry leaders, the doers of the industry, and I think technology is a wonderful thing, and it can help us achieve a lot, do a lot more than what we are doing. And as I think we have, even during pandemic situation, we have learned a bitter lesson that I think if we are faster and earlier adopter of technology, we would be able to overcome a lot of challenges in a better way. And that is what we are doing at Huawei. We are helping the industry, the people, the world. As I said, we are the enabler of all these things we are talking about, and we will continue to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me again, and I hope that PIXO and our platform Apex improves the industry and provides solutions to make it much easier than it is today.
Thank you to all. From my side, the idea for this summit is very important. I hope it will continue again and again and again, because there is a lot of things to discuss and think about it, because it will help us and it will help the others, and especially if there is expert in this field.
Inshallah.
Thank you, Melwin, for the opportunity. Looking forward for future collaborations.
Yes, Dr. Sana, but without you coming here, so it'll be virtual. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.